Choose Your Legends is back for the third time, and that means you get to pick one free 5-star hero out of 4 winners. If you're a new player, then let me explain what Choose Your Legends is. Basically, every year a voting event takes place. The top 2 male and female Fire Emblem characters with the most votes get a special outfit, and when they release, you get to select one of them for free. When you start the game, you got to select one CYL hero from the past 2 years, and it was announced that going forward, the year 1 CYL free pick is going to go away because it will get replaced with year 3. Choose Your Legends units are also called Brave Heroes because that's what the banner is named, so just bear in mind that CYL and Brave are interchangeable. The runner-ups this year were Camilla and Eliwood, with our women's division winner being Micaiah and our men's division winner being Home. We'll talk about everyone's kits and what kind of playstyle you can expect from each unit. These 4 will have their own banner, so you can select one for free and then try to get the rest via summoning. Let's get started. Brave Camilla has been a big source of alt controversy, namely because you got a lot of people complaining about how many Camillas in the game, but then a whole bunch of people voted for her anyway. Whether you like Camilla or not, don't go bothering those who like her, that's just rude. Brave Camilla's outfit is inspired by what she would look like as the Queen of Nor. You can see some clear references to Garen's outfit with the fur cape, a smaller version of the same collar, and then whatever that purple ribbon is supposed to be. Very cool. Now, Brave Camilla is a flying staff user. We do not have a ton of those, but she compares very well to the others and is quite good compared to all staff units. She has 39 HP, 33 attack, 37 speed, 21 defense, and 25 resistance. Big heads up that I am using these stats shown from the Feh Channel because I assume those to be final. If anything major changes, I will edit the description and my pinned comment. Back to Camilla, these are some beastly stats if you're looking for an offensive healer. She is now the fastest healer in the game, stealing that title from Brave Veronica, and just to compare further, Brave Camilla beats Veronica in every stat except for defense, which they tie in. If you like Brave Veronica for her killing power, then Camilla will not disappoint. For old skills, she has Restore Plus as her healing assist skill, definitely a good skill to have these days with all the debuffs and status effects flying around. Camilla's B skill is Wrathful Staff, and you can probably guess where this is going. She'll do full damage and basically become a colorless mage. Last, her C skill is Attack Tactic, buffing allies with +6 attack as long as you run a mixed team with no more than 2 of each movement type. Brave Camilla's weapon is Sangruder, and I'm probably just going to refer to it as Camilla's staff. This staff has 14 might and prevents enemy counterattacks, meaning Brave Camilla is all set with the Dazzling Staff and Wrathful Staff combo. If Camilla initiates combat, then she gets +3 attack and speed, so kind of like a mini Swift Sparrow effect. After combat, if Camilla makes an attack, then she also inflicts the gravity status on her target, plus any foes within 1 space of that target. Gravity prevents the enemy from moving more than 1 space and is extremely good for kiting. Essentially, Camilla has a souped up gravity staff that also gives her extra attack and speed. If you know how Brave Veronica works, then you know that what to expect from Camilla. Camilla, however, has a new A skill that Veronica would love to have. Attack and Speed Push arises out of its niche grave and has been reborn as a pretty darn good skill. This tier 4 version states, at the start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, then grants +7 attack and speed during combat, but afterwards, if unit attacks, then inflict 5 damage. My goodness, it's like you get the attack and speed boost from Brazen skills but from full HP, and you have all the way to 25% HP to use it. Sure, it slowly lowers the health of your unit, but it's definitely a worthy trade-off. Important to note that the normal push skills have no inheritance restrictions, so I assume that this tier 4 version will not either. You can probably see how this ability would be incredibly sought after by tons of units, and is easily now the go-to A skill for offensive healers like Camilla or Veronica. What I like about this skill is that for healers, since they aren't taking counterattacks, you have a lot of time to keep the push active. Camilla can literally make 6 attacks before the chip damage pushes her under 25% HP. Attack and Speed Push 4 will work on both phases, so I imagine it's quite versatile. Will someone use it with something like Desperation? Probably. Is it worth it? Maybe, since you got a 50% HP window to work with, but obviously getting hurt too much messes up the synergy big time. This is a very strong ability for any weapons that prevent counterattacks, since they basically don't need Desperation to get 2 consecutive hits in. For builds, pretty much all the CYL units come with complete kits, so you do not have to do much if any remodeling. For Camilla, she is obviously supposed to be like Veronica and be a deadly offensive threat. With her staff and attack and speed push 4, she hits 57 attack and 47 speed on initiations, which is just gross. Have fun stopping that. One thing I do want to throw in there is using the Martyr Assist skill. This healing ability heals the user itself for half of their lost HP, so if Camilla fights often, she will get chipped down by attack and speed push, Martyr Plus will then keep her healthy if she heals someone else. Maybe a better option than Restore Plus if you know Camilla is going to do a lot of fighting and you don't need the debuff neutralization. For specials, you can choose whatever you want. Heavenly Light is always a simple one, while Miracle can be pretty clutch in tight situations. One thing that separates Camilla from Veronica is that she is a flyer while Veronica is a cavalry unit. In the open, Veronica gets to use her Supreme 3 movement, but on maps with tons of water, forest, or mountain tiles, this is where Camilla can really shine. With Gravity on her staff, she can literally just kite out enemies forever if you attack them and then have an ally reposition her back. If there are no dancers, Camilla and a team of flyers can just hit and run all day. With that in mind, definitely consider using the flyer mobility skills like guidance, aerobatics, and flyer formation. I expect to see Camilla in a lot of flyer emblem teams. Next up we have Brave Eliwood. It's been quite the year for him as he got his new weapon refined and a legendary alt too. Eliwood's outfit is that of Marquess Foray. He's inheriting the title from his father, and you do see Eliwood wear this outfit in game. He looks absolutely stunning. While still a cavalry unit, this time Eliwood has swapped out Durando for a lance. He has 40 HP, 37 attack, 35 speed, 32 defense, and 18 resistance. He is tied for highest attack among lance cavaliers and ties for second in terms of speed. There are not a ton of super speedy lance cavs, and Eliwood is here to take things further. He has decent HP and defense, and his res is somewhat low, but pretty par for the course in his class type. For old skills, Eliwood has rally attack and defense plus. He can support one ally with plus 6 attack and defense, and then he can also has speed opening, which buffs the fastest ally with plus 6 speed. Unsurprising, even Brave Eliwood can support his friends. However, his A skill is all for himself, and it's Swift Sparrow 3, plus 6 attack and plus 7 speed, on top of his great base stats ensures Eliwood is hitting hard and he will double often. His unique weapon is called Nice's Ice Lance. This 16 might lance is effective against dragons and beast units, I believe a first for this dual combination. Not a ton of blue dragon slaying weapons, so definitely a nice trait to have. This lance also grants a flat plus 3 speed, putting Eliwood at 38 speed total, which is just fantastic. His third effect is that when Eliwood initiates combat, he gains plus 4 to all stats, a spectrum blow ability. Now this is a very simple weapon, no tricks or complications. Brave Eliwood is a player phase initiator, and with Swift Sparrow 3 he is going to be another deadly unit. With the dual effectiveness against dragons and beast units, if you want to take things further, give Eliwood the Ruptured Sky special from the Violets. This 2-turn cooldown special gets you more damage against dragons and beast. Moving on, Eliwood also has a new B skill, Attack and Speed Ruse. We got the first Ruse skill from Summer Ursula, I believe, and this one is Attack and Speed variant. If a Rally Assist is used by unit or target's unit, then inflict -5 attack and speed and the guard effect on foes in cardinal directions from both units. Now I like these Ruse skills, they are much stronger feint skills with a wider range too. If you want Eliwood to help out the team, have him rally someone and be sure to line up one of them with an enemy to debuff them. Long range guard debuffs is also very nice to have. Now that I think about it, if you rally an ally with the defense and res Ruse skill, then you would debuff all 4 stats in cardinal directions. Maybe a bit much, but still that would be fun to try out. For Eliwood, similar to Camilla, he is crazy when initiating. He will hit 63 attack and 49 speed just from Nice's Ice Lance and Swift Sparrow 3. His kit isn't even fully geared for offense, and while I would definitely use him for his damage output, you can also keep him as a hybrid support unit as well. He already has these skills for it. For Sacred Seals, we just got confirmation that the next Tempest Trials is offering a Sturdy Blow seal, and since I don't think Eliwood needs more speed, that is a nice ability. With his Ice Lance granting +4 to all stats, Sturdy Blow adding another +4 defense gets Eliwood to 40 defense when attacking. Not bad at all. He would definitely have an issue taking hits from dragons, but hopefully Eliwood could one-shot them before getting hit. If you don't like the supportive Ruse B skills, then I definitely think low attack and defense works fantastic in an offensive kit. I just like talking about it for Cavaliers because their skill choices are so limited. Eliwood can also definitely run Desperation should you want to go full player phase power. To give him some protection, you can run Heavy Blade plus Aether or Gale Force. Attack Smoke is also nice if you know Eliwood has to duke it out on the enemy phase, however he is going to be much weaker there. Overall, if you pick Eliwood, you know what you're getting. Keep him on the offensive to get the most out of him and utilize his support skills when he doesn't have to fight. Our third Brave hero is Micaiah, who has a little birdie floating behind her. Basically, if you know about Yoon, that is pretty much a spoiler already, but at this point it seems we are past spoilers for Radiant Dawn. Micaiah is wearing her Light Priestess outfit, which is essentially her late game class in Radiant Dawn. I thought this would have been her outfit for a legendary alt, but I totally forgot she has another unique outfit, so if legendary Micaiah ever happens, then I expect they'll go with that one. Something important to note is that Brave Micaiah is a flying green mage, not an infantry one. She is very similar to Yoon, and I'm sure you can guess why. Micaiah's stats include 36 HP, 37 attack, 28 speed, 17 defense, and 37 resistance. As with her other Feh versions, Micaiah hasn't changed much. She is tied for highest res in the game with guess who? Yoon. Her 37 base attack is very good for a mage, and unsurprisingly her HP is a bit low, and same with her defense. She will definitely go down to a good arrow. Her 28 speed may not be anything special, but keep it in mind because we aren't done with it yet. For old skills, Micaiah actually gets to use her own unique sacrifice assist again. This skill is exclusive to regular Micaiah as well. Basically, it converts penalties into bonuses, so the same as Harsh Command. It also restores HP to the target ally equal to all of Micaiah's HP except for 1 point if needed. Micaiah then loses the same amount of HP because, well, she is sacrificing it to her ally. So if Micaiah has her full 36 HP, she can heal an ally for up to 35 health and remain at 1 HP. If the ally only needs 7 health, Micaiah restores 7 HP and loses 7 HP too. This is a very good skill if you want to full heal someone but don't have a healer. Micaiah's other skill is ground orders, and basically this grants a buff to adjacent non-flying allies that allows them to move next to any space adjacent to an ally within 2 spaces. Very handy for mobility shenanigans, and it does help synergize with her other skill. Now for her weapon, Micaiah has the Light of Dawn. This 14-might tome is effective against armor units and cavalry units, basically just like her other 2 forms in Feh. It also grants +3 resistance, bringing Micaiah up to 40 res total. This third effect is that Micaiah gets a bonus to attack, speed, defense, and resistance during combat equal to the current penalty on each of target's stats. Each stat is calculated independently. This effect is the same as Saizo's star, an example being if the enemy has a -6 attack debuff, then Micaiah gets a +6 attack buff during combat. This applies to every stat. While the dual effectiveness of Light of Dawn is already very good, this debuff-centric ability is another great effect. Micaiah definitely wants to play the stat debuff game, and by weakening the enemy, she gets even stronger, which is great. To help ensure the enemy is debuffed, Micaiah has another unique skill called Yoon's Whispers. At the start of the turn, if any foe's res stat is less than or equal to Micaiah's res -3, and that foe is next to another foe, inflict a -6 attack and speed debuff on that foe through their next actions. Oh my, so this is essentially a sabotage attack and sabotage speed skill, and Micaiah can inflict these debuffs from anywhere. It's extremely good against clumped up teams, and an enemy will need 37 res to avoid the res check, which not many units will have. Obviously, the added debuffs will allow Light of Dawn to activate its debuff effect, and Micaiah will get +6 attack and speed against those affected by Yoon's Whispers. Very nasty ability, and it's important to note that the added speed does not go to waste. With 28 base speed, if the enemy loses 6 speed and Micaiah gains +6 speed, that's a 12-point difference, meaning it's like Micaiah now has 40 speed. We don't usually think of Micaiah as someone who will double often, but Brave Micaiah can definitely get those follow-ups. If you face her, you really want to avoid Yoon's Whispers if you can. Micaiah's last new skill, which is not exclusive to her, is Attack and Res Bond 4. If unit is adjacent to an ally, grants +7 attack and res to unit and neutralizes unit's penalties to attack and resistance during combat. Our first tier 4 bond skill, and it's not bad at all. More stats than its tier 3 variant, and nullifying stat debuffs is pretty nice, especially since bond skills are typically more defensive in nature. Since Micaiah has ground orders in a mixed team, she can create lots of movement options, and hopefully someone ends up next to her all the time. Micaiah is also free to use all the flyer mobility skills like aerobatics to proc attack and res bond 4. Maybe not the skill for everyone, but if you want Micaiah to tank magic damage, well, she's gonna have no problems doing that. Overall playstyle for Micaiah doesn't change much from her 2 other forms. We now have a Micaiah for red, blue, and green, each with dual effectiveness against armors and cavalry units. Brave Micaiah will absolutely wipe the floor with any blue armors or cavaliers. RIP Death Knight, first he gets blown up by Lysithea in 3 houses, and now Micaiah is here to send them back in pieces. With her large amount of resistance, Micaiah is also going to be a fine mage tank, and when Attack and Res Bond 4 active, she already hits 47 res. Where things change for this Micaiah is Light of Dawn's debuff ability, and if Yoon's Whispers hit someone, Micaiah becomes even deadlier, getting more attack and speed. You can run ploy skills if you want to ensure debuffs hit, since Yoon's Whispers won't work on spread out teams. While I wouldn't change it out for anything else, if you absolutely know the enemy is going to be spread out all the time, then a chill skill will be more beneficial. For A skills, Micaiah is good with attack and res bond, but if you wanted to initiate freely, then maybe look for Death Blow or Sturdy Impact. Sturdy or Mirror Impact provides some defensive insurance in case Micaiah has to take a hit, and while she would ideally want to one-shot armors and cavaliers, it's not bad to bring up a backup plan. For mobility skills, Brave Micaiah will absolutely love to abuse things like guidance, aerobatics, or flyer formation. Overall, Brave Micaiah is essentially just Green Micaiah, and if you love her other two versions, then you'll love this one. She will flourish with teammates who also love debuffs, and she can also get pretty speedy too, so don't count her out from getting follow-ups. I will be choosing Brave Micaiah myself. Last but not least is Brave Alm. He gets to join his partner, Brave Celica, who won last year, and the two of them are dressed to match. Brave Alm is taking inspiration from Rudolph, his father, and stole the fur collar and cape for himself. His armor is a throwback to his original armor from his old game, which matches Brave Celica's throwback getup as well. Let's just say Alm is making sure to protect his most important parts. For stats, Brave Alm has 42 HP, 38 attack, 35 speed, 37 defense, and 20 resistance. As an infantry sword unit, Alm has a lot of competition. His 38 attack does tie for highest in the class, and while 35 speed isn't that crazy, it's still good overall. Surprisingly, he comes with 37 defense, which is pretty monstrous for these types of sword units. If you want a speedy swordsman with good attack and high defense, then the Bylets are your next best offer. Unsurprisingly, 20 res is somewhat low, not exactly a big selling point. For old skills, Alm has Draconic Aura as his special and Chill Defense as his B skill to reduce the tankiest enemy's defense by -7. Quite tame compared to our other units, but both perfectly fine options. For his unique weapon, Brave Alm has a lightsaber, the Draco Falchion. As usual, this Falchion is effective against dragons, and Alm also gets a flat +3 attack, bringing him up to a crazy 57 attack with Draco Falchion equipped. For its other effect, if the number of foes within 2 spaces of Alm is greater than or equal to the number of allies within 2 spaces, then Alm gets +5 to all stats. Essentially, this is just a better version of Walhart's Wolfberg axe, plus Alm gets to take down dragons. Basically, Alm will want to be in the action, either being off on his own or being the first to get in the fight. If you can get the stat boost from Draco Falchion, Alm has some incredible stats, including more than 60 attack and more than 40 defense. He's gonna love being by himself, but Alm does lack sustain, mainly because of his A skill. Like Micaiah, Brave Alm also gets his own unique passive skill. This one is called Send Skill, and oh boy is it something. Deals damage equal to 25% of Alm's attack stat, but after combat, if Alm attacks, he takes 7 recoil damage. Alright, so just with Draco Falchion equipped, Alm ends up with 57 attack. You take 25% of that and you get 14 extra true damage per hit. That is just crazy, and in terms of pure damage, this is easily one of the craziest skills for a passive. Send skill works anytime, so if you get hit by Alm, you're basically guaranteed to take a decent amount of damage. I can see this being pretty crazy with Vantage builds or Desperation builds if you can raise Alm speed high enough. I think it's going to need some testing, but I would imagine you could have some fun with things like a Brave Sword getting 2 activations of true damage. Brave Alm can definitely use the A skill slot for more utility like distant counter or more defense or res, but I think Send skill is easily his best skill if you want more damage. Last we have Brave Alm's C skill, which wasn't shown beforehand. It was indeed Threaten Attack and Speed 3, and just a reminder, this should be an inheritable skill. At the start of the turn, if the unit is within 2 spaces of a foe, grants +5 attack and speed for 1 turn, and inflicts -5 attack and speed on the foes within 2 spaces. Basically, this is a toned down version of Surtur's Menace, and at least you don't get hit by 20 damage on top of it. Threaten skills aren't bad, but they require you to bait in the enemy first, or you are okay with having your unit surrounded by enemies for a turn. Alm wants to be by himself to proc Draco Falchion, but be careful, he doesn't kill himself from Send skill. Now if you face Alm, this skill isn't really a problem, since if you bait him first, you won't be in its 2 space range. The reason Surtur's Menace is so good is because Surtur is an army unit, so he only can move 1 space. If you want to bait Surtur to hit you first, you have to get hit by his skill and his stupid axe. Threaten attack and speed will create a huge attack and speed difference, and it's pretty nasty to get hit by it. It creates a 10 speed difference, which is very noticeable, and of course the extra damage is just what Alm wants. If you want to give this skill to units you want to use for PvP defense maps, then definitely give it to an army unit unless you have another crazy strategy. Brave Alm is just oozing damage, and I'm quite curious to see how much work he will do with Send skill. If you want to throw Alm into a crowd, then he will need some way to heal back up, since Send skill is dealing 7 damage after every fight. You can go with Renewal, Aether, or Soul, and of course Heavy Blade should be easy to activate for Alm. While Chill Defense just ensures Alm gets to dent even the tankiest foe, I'm definitely curious how he would do with Vantage. You could run something like Vantage with Defense Smoke or Savage Blow, and even have a healing special too. If you can find a way to get more speed, then Desperation should be pretty nasty since Senscale is just adding so much damage per hit. While I would say Alm can run defensive setups, if you have Senscale you just end up killing Alm yourself. I think it's an awesome skill, but if you want to go for a defensive build then you have to get rid of it, which would kinda suck. Now, while I would love Draco Falchion since it basically just looks like a lightsaber, I would definitely think Senscale can work with things like a Fire Sweep sword or a Brave sword. Alm is not blazing fast, so he's going to need some speed buffs on a Darting Blow as a seal, but I think he could pull off some wacky setups abusing Senscale's true damage per hit. While there are a ton of sword infantry units out there, I think Alm makes an interesting case for himself with Senscale. He can also be effective in mobs, but just be aware that without self-sustain, he will kill himself from the recoil damage. That wraps up Choose Your Legends 3. Our 4 units look amazing, and be sure to let me know who you will be choosing as your free unit. Also, will you be summoning on the banner or have you already run out of orbs? An interesting thing that has surfaced is that a Tempest Trials is happening soon, and everyone was wondering if it was going to be related to Choose Your Legends. Turns out an incredibly odd scenario where the other bonus units are Ike, Sanaki, and regular Micaiah, with Sigrun as the Tempest reward unit. Just a very weird surprise, and I have no clue why this is happening. Anyway, that is coming soon too, and it does have some juicy sacred seals. Thanks for watching this video, have fun with Choose Your Legends, and I'll see you in the next one.